the tritone. Okay, now we have to move on from this. We'll get back to that. And of course, the blues pent key has a lot of perks because you can, in the blues pent key, you can hit every one of these guys straight up. So one thing about anti-blues notes, let's say on the 5-6 right there, you can kind of slide past it. So if we go, okay, I found that worked, but I usually don't like to get fancy with the licks there. I'm more concerned with the system we're trying to implement here. So we've talked about this. If you want to get a screen save of this, there it is. And then the blues note locations in general. Where's the flatted 5? The flatted 5 is the blues note. That's the magic, because from that flatted 5, you can just do the 2 string shapes above it and you have all the diatonic keys. And that will cover those extra notes there. In other words, in the Blues Magic diatonic key, you have your tritone on the 5 and 6. The next one up, you get your RKB7, which is an anti-blues note, and then you get your RKB third. You only need 2 anti-blues notes with the Blues Magic key, right? Blues Magic key. Okay, so you want to get your flatted, your natural 7th and your natural 3rd. Okay, you've already got your natural 5th of that flatted 5th in the Blues Magic key. It's the 6th of the Blues Magic key. So you already have that. Now that's it. Works. You remember in the Blues Magic key, it's between 5 and 6, the tritone. Where's the flatted 5th? Once you know where that flatted 5th is, okay, when you know where that flatted 5th is, now, Blues Magic key, we're going to go ahead 1 cage. That gives us the A shape. Between 5 and 6, A shape is 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Between that 5, 6 is the tritone. 3 strings up from there are the other anti-blues notes. So it's not 3 strings up, but 2 strings up also. So it's the bottom 3 strings right that. And then you just go back to the regular one. The 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. So you don't have to play these in between guys. You just play the scale, but know where this blues note is. That's going to give you a lot of the color for the scale. Because remember, you go like this, and you're going to start on the 5 of the Blues Magic key, which is the F, and you'll be going. Right there. That's what you'll be playing. Okay, so that's good for that. You know, if I take this capo off, then I'll be playing it instead of a C shape, I'll be actually playing a C shaped A flat. Okay, so now that was the shadow. So you've got a lot of stuff to cover. And the question is, are we going to be able to cover it? I want you to look at these charts here. This is the C shape, okay? And I've got new charts here. Now we can do the A7 Mixolydian, that's the C shape Phrygian there. Then we have the A7, D7, E7 blues. I've done the G7, C7, D7. Now, why do I have 3 columns here? This is the Locrian shape. Bar E7, bar A7, then gives us a nice C7 shape. That wrist of mine is really hurt. So We got, I did all 7 of them. Why do we have 3 columns? So we got the E7, you know, and yada 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 there. Okay, so we got everything to work with. Alright, let's see if we can get to an easier one. The Dorian. Okay, so this really works well. We're doing 8 cages here. Now let's look at this. What I've done is I've translated the colors. So if we're in D here, we're doing D7, G7, A7 here. Okay, D7, G7, A7 blues. Alright, so I'll put the capo on so we're actually playing that D7 instead of just the D7 shape, which would be B flat way down here. It would be C there. Okay, so the D7 shape, you know, would be like G7 and then say A7. Okay. In the RKB, we've got these shapes here. Now, this is interesting enough to see this. Our root shape is going to be the D shape, so it's colored like purple. So I can see where what these shapes are. When we go 1 cage from the D shape, the caged word goes to the D shape, right? Remember we looked at that up here? Okay, from the D shape, go ahead in 1 cage. +1 caged is clockwise, so we go to the C shape there. Okay, so from the D shape, we're going to the C shape, which is the green. Just think of sea of green. Boy, that stuff really gets you going, but it makes it hard to think because sometimes it moves the blood to your muscles. You get ready for a workout. The brain is not a muscle, although some people would argue with that statement. All right, so let's look at it. Going ahead 1 caged. What we're interested in here is if we have the RKB, is the D shape there? Where do we see that RKB D shape perfectly shadowed? We see it perfectly shadowed in the blues master pent key. Okay, so sure, 1P, 1 pent from our D shape is going to be the E shape, right? D goes to E in a pent scale. D goes to E, but it's perfectly shadowed in the 2nd cage. It's perfectly shadowed. So what we got is there's the D. So this is what this could give us, the perfect shadowing. We can look around and say, hey, well, what if I want to shadow it on the mix key? Okay, well, guess what? It's shadowed right here, the 3rd cage up. But before we go, you know, so we've got the RKB 4th. If we're in D7, remember right down here, here's the blues key. This is what we're doing. That's why I wrote these, kept track of them down here. We've got our D7 here. The first shape is going to be RKB 4th. The 4th of D is the G shape. Okay, the next cage is going to be the E shape right there. Just going up in cage normal shapes. And then the 3rd cage is going to be the D shape. So it's right here. Okay, so it's like this. Now, it's not going to sound right unless you play it diatonically. So there it is. It's important to know the difference between if we're substituting a pentatonic shape or substituting a diatonic shape. Yeah, it makes a difference. let's get the groove going first so we can slow it down, right? So right here, I didn't get that, grab that 7 because I'm not thinking the diatonic shape, which is an S3D. Right there, we're in the blues master diatonic key, blues magic rather. Right there. So when we're doing the D shape there, okay, for the blues magic diatonic key, okay, our D shape, now remember, these are playables. We wouldn't leave this out. The only reason I took a chance and highlighted these in white is so we could see the 3-string rule. 3 strings, including the tritone string, straight up on the diatonic. You got it. You got it. Okay. So we've gotten some things covered today, but now let's just zoom out a second. And I want to explain it. So over here we've got what's going on up here. I've got all 7 modes of blues and then some, because we want to the right and to the left of each one of them. So to the right of C is this one